Hey, friends. Thank you for listening to another episode of Beards and Bitcoins. We are a crypto podcast for the man's man. And yes, the ladies that love him. We have got an action-packed show planned for you today. As always, I am joined with my compadre, my amigo, my co-host, Ben Armstrong. Ben,
What's up?
How are you doing today, my brother?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, this lockdown is getting to be very, very monotonous. But let's break out of the monotony, okay? And let's give them an interesting show today. So, guys, today we have got some super intriguing topics we're going to be talking about. Some for Newsbreak, some crypto laws that are now going to get enforced, and something you definitely got to listen to. You're going to want to pay attention to that segment. For Token Time, we're going to be talking about one of the hottest altcoins out there, Hedera Hashgraph, aka HBAR. If you're a big fan of this coin, or you're maybe interested in investing in it, you're definitely going to want to listen there. For What You Thinkin, we're going to have an interesting question from the audience today about our opinion on the future of Bitcoin during the halvening. And then for Manspreading, we're going to get into what's a better topic than friggin' muscle cars. What's
Nothing.
a better topic? Well, name one. I'd love to hear it.
Nothing. Maybe if you go to a classic muscle car show and it's the bikini girls that sit on the hood for the advertisements. That's it.
That's it. That's it. So, guys, that's going to be our show today. We're going to be covering all those topics. You're definitely going to want to pay attention and listen to the whole episode. But first, before we get into all that, let's talk about what's going on with sports right now. Because what sports, right?
Right. I mean, people are watching like the craziest things. ESPN had like some like really crazy sport the other day. Like it's not even a sport. It's just like an activity that people are getting excited about.
Was it rock climbing?
No, I think it was worse. I don't even remember.
That's what I was watching. I was watching speed rock climbing, speed indoor rock climbing on ESPN. It was the Olympic trials for the Olympics that isn't happening.
That could be fun. Now, I remember a few months ago or a few weeks, maybe like 2 months ago, you were watching, was it Tetris on ESPN?
Yeah, in the same day, I watched Tetris on ESPN and also slippery stair climbing, which sounds like it's from a porno or something, but it's not. Okay. It's actually where they take a bunch of soap, pour it all over a bunch of stairs. They're soft stairs, like something you would see at Chuck E. Cheese or something, something you can climb on. They're this huge staircase, and they pour soap down it, and people try to climb to the top. They reminded me of that show Wipeout from a few years ago, but they're serious about it. This was the college intramurals championship, the slippery step climbing championship. So I haven't seen that during the outbreak here. That was during regular sports season.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to try that.
So one of your favorite sports is baseball. You're a big Chicago Cubs fan. I'm from Atlanta. Right. We're big Braves fans here. I actually had some headshots done recently. I went down to the Braves stadium and had them done. I mean, that's how close I am to it. And but right now there's no baseball, and they're talking about wanting to start in May, so next month. But they've got a really interesting proposal, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So Here's the proposal. They're going to take how many baseball teams are there? 30, I think? 30 or 32. Like yeah. They're going to take every baseball team, and they are going to move them to Arizona where they do spring training, and they're going to play all the season's baseball games in Arizona with no fans.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about doing. They're basically going to quarantine all the teams for the whole summer.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I think at this point, anything to get the season going would be great. I mean, I don't know now, are there going to be more double headers? Are they going to shorten the season? I mean, you can't really take baseball past April. It gets October, it gets a little too cold.
They're talking about playing 7 days a week.
Holy smokes. Yeah. How many injuries is this going to create?
Well, you would think that, but at the same time, they're going to be playing in Arizona where it's, the weather's going to be good. Okay. And well, maybe not in the middle of the summer. It might be super hot, but they're going to be playing in Arizona, and they're not going to have to do any traveling. So that travel really wears and tears on people, So, but I don't know. And we were talking a little before we came on air, like, they're talking about making big changes to college football as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously all in the discussion phases because you never really know what's going to happen. But I mean, if they move the college football season to the springtime, and they would have to do so only because obviously a lot of these athletes, I mean, you need to make sure that you're in shape so that you don't just get injured, right? So, they need a few months to start
Yeah.
camp, do all training, and then, get into simulation before they get into actual games. So, with that being said, you can't really do that stuff during the winter in most places. So they'd be like indoor training throughout the winter and then start the season in the spring, which, dude, that would be nutty.
It's insane.
Nutty.
I mean, it's just so hard to comprehend what we're looking at. I've got to this point where I don't even watch the news anymore. Like I'm just so drowned out with everything that's happening. No, I'm still reporting on it on my other channel, my Fact CEO channel, and doing stuff on TikTok. But yeah, it's definitely crazy what's happening. But let's go ahead talking about crazy things. Let's go ahead and check out the Crazy Monarch wallet. Okay, not my best segue. Okay, it was okay though. Guys,
we're getting better. You're getting better.
Getting a little better. Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast is brought to you by Monarch Wallet. Rule your own financial kingdom from the palm of your hand.
That is right, sir. The team at Monarch, they are working hard to bring you the one app to access all of the best crypto services. These guys believe in delivering tech, not hype.
With the universal decentralized Monarch Wallet, you can buy, store, spend, and earn crypto. With Monarch Pay, you can set up and accept recurring crypto payments.
Absolutely. If you need more information, check out monarchwallet.com. You can also look at monarchtoken.io and get some more information. Download the app. It's on both Google and Apple app stores.
Perfect. Well, let's check out Newsbreak. Newsbreak. For Newsbreak today, guys, we got an interesting story coming out from Japan. Now, if you didn't know, the Eastern world, Japan, Korea, China, they are hugely important to the entire ecosystem of cryptocurrency. They're much more bullish on crypto over there than we are even here, if you even think America is bullish on crypto. But we got a crazy story coming out from Japan about some laws and regulations they're enacting. Why don't you tell them about it, Jay Chains?
Absolutely. So the laws will go into effect May 1st. Again, this is in Japan. The Payment Services Act and the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act, those are two pieces of legislation that the Japanese House of Representatives passed last year to regulate crypto. It was actually scheduled to come into effect starting this April, but with kind of unexpected delays, they haven't enforced anything up until last week. So starting May 1st, Japan will start to enforce their cryptocurrency laws.
Yeah, now Japan has had a lot of really tough, stances on cryptocurrency ever since Mt. Gox occurred, which was obviously a huge hack. Whether it was actually a hack or it was, some fraudulent activity is a different question. But that almost killed crypto, kind of near the beginning. But Bitcoin was shown to be resilient. You know what I find very interesting about this, though, Jay, is that right now, May 1st is a pretty bad time in Japan for them to be announcing this because enacting it. They just declared a national state of emergency in Japan from the virus. So
wow. I could see them probably pushing this back. Another delay. I mean, they've had delays. So they'll probably have another delay because they've probably got more important things to worry about.
Yeah, it seems like it's like kind of this is almost in name only. Like they're going to do it. They're going to say they're going to enact it, but how can they really enforce it if they're dealing with the virus like they are right now? Let me pull up the numbers on Japan.
So while you're doing that really quick, I think one of the things that they're really looking at with kind of these acts that they've put into place is that it's really for custodial services. It's not for the everyday crypto user. It's more for, how is, say, an exchange going to deal with holding the funds of someone? If you want to keep it in a hot wallet, the exchange or the financial institution that's holding this crypto for you has to match that. They have to actually have that in their reserves so that if you need it liquid, you can get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so in a lot of ways, that's actually kind of designed to help the average crypto user. Wouldn't you say so?
100%. I mean, if you've got access to your funds, that's kind of the whole point of all of this is that you can't get locked out, like a traditional bank. If they put a freeze on assets, you're done. But with crypto, the whole point is so that you can't get your assets frozen.
Yeah. Well, Japan right now, the numbers on Japan, it's coming in with 4,257 cases, which is basically nothing. My state has way more than that. Yours does too. So new cases, they just had 351. So it's growing at about a 10% rate over there right now. So a little bit less than that. So I'm not sure why I can tell you probably why they enacted the state of emergency. I think they probably were holding off until they officially postponed the Olympics, which they've done.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So when did they push them to to 2021, right? They'll just be next summer?
Yeah, it'll be next summer. It's crazy. Who would have ever thought?
I mean, whatever. Yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah, and they're losing $24 billion. So, you know what it also makes me wonder? It also makes me wonder if Japan has been lying about their numbers too, to try to make their numbers look better since they had so much. I mean, if you had $24 billion riding on the line, don't you think you would try to make things appear better than they are?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, you would try to do that. And so I wonder if you took a look at the numbers now, if you look at the cases before they announced the postponement of the Olympics versus after, if there was a huge spike where it's like, like what you just said, like, okay, the gig's up, like we're canceling the Olympics for this year. Now all of a sudden you see, the number of confirmed cases just skyrocket.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of are seeing that if you look over in Japan. If you look at the numbers in Japan, it's very interesting because it was rising so slow. And what day was that announced? I wonder. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. While I'm looking that up, Jay, why don't you tell them about our website?
Sounds good, my man.
I couldn't remember what I was trying to say there.
While Ben is looking that up, again, with Newsbreak and kind of the show, if you want information on news, show information, make sure you visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com. Super easy to navigate. You can get all the episodes, again, news, information about Ben and I. And make sure while you're there that you sign up for the 21 Bitcoin Best Practices Guide. It's just a PDF guide. It's got 21 Bitcoin best practices that noobs to advanced crypto users could appreciate, kind of the little guide to live by so that you're always doing the right thing. Again, visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com, and that guide is absolutely free. All you got to do is give us an email address. We promise we will not spam you. It is also to email you the shows every week so you get a copy delivered right into your email inbox. Pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, you guys make sure you sign up for that. Very interesting, guys. If you look at when Japan canceled or postponed the Olympics, their cases started going up about okay, so if you remember, guys, there was an announcement where it was leaked that they were probably going to postpone, and then like a few days later we got the official postponement. Right in that window is when their cases started going up, after it was already known that they were going to postpone. So I would say definitely China. If you look at this chart, or Japan, I mean not China, if you look at this chart, Japan's numbers definitely have jumped up since they announced they were postponing the Olympics. No question about it.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely really crazy. But back to the crypto laws. I mean, I think I'm just always surprised by how people. I'm always surprised by the way that people keep their money on exchanges. I heard it from a guy the other day. He said, "Have you heard anything about IDEX?" And I was like, "What is IDEX?" I think I'd heard of it. It's a little crappy exchange from China, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it might be a bigger, crappier exchange. I mean, it's not, it's not a no-name exchange. But he said they had gotten maybe seized by the government, or maybe somebody had exit scammed. And he was like, man, he had Apollo of all things. And he was like, I had all my Apollo on IDEX and I don't know what to do. I can't get it off. I can't get access to it. And I was like, I hate to tell you this, but I'm sorry that this is why we tell you cannot keep your money on exchanges.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question. And this is something that I do. If I've got any crypto on an exchange that I want to have there so that if I need to sell, flip, scoop, do any of that kind of stuff, I do keep some crypto on exchanges. It's not a lot, but some. But what I do, and tell me if you think this is a good practice or a bad practice, but what I do is I set a very high sell order so that my crypto is in a queue to be sold. Obviously, if an exchange gets shut down or if they, get seized or whatever, then you're screwed either way. But you can't get hacked out of that, right? If it's in a sell order, is
Well,
that?
I would say if someone could get access to your account, they could just cancel the sell order.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess my safety measure, one of my safety measures is flawed. I'm gonna have to rethink this.
Flawed. I mean, guys, if you have your money on Binance, if you have your money on Coinbase, and I think maybe we've talked about this on the show before, guys, the truth is, if you have your money on Binance or Coinbase, it's probably almost just as safe as keeping it in your own wallet. And what I mean by that is that they have plenty of measures in place to make sure that if, people do get hacked, they can restore their funds. That's what CZ calls the SAFU fund, whatever the case may be. Do you own your own crypto in that case? No, you really don't. But the argument has been made by a lot of people that many, many more people have probably been hacked, lost their keys, lost their password, lost their seed phrase. The long and short of it, lost access to their funds in a wallet than they do. I think CZ actually brought this up on our show when we had him on for an interview. Probably more people have lost their funds that way than off of exchanges like Coinbase or Binance.
That makes sense. I mean, if you're talking about a reputable, top 3 exchange, I mean, you're probably safe.
I would say Coinbase and Binance. Those are the only 2 I think I would say. I mean, I try to think of a third like KuCoin. I don't know.
Now, do you consider Crypto.com the app? Do you consider that an exchange, or do you just consider that a wallet?
I consider it a wallet.
Okay. Even though you can flip, you can buy things with different cryptos.
Yeah, I still consider it a wallet. Okay. I think that Crypto.com's got a lot of security. Crypto.com to me is the new Binance in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is kind of an all-encompassing company that's trying to do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. They're, staking, earning, exchanging, spending, storing, the whole 9 yards. I mean, similar to what Monarch does as well. And in the same way, you would trust Monarch Wallet, I think you could trust Crypto.com as well. So Crypto.com to me is like on that second tier right now, and they're trying to get up to the top tier. And that's the way I kind of look at what they're doing. But speaking of exchanges and cool altcoins, you guys always like how I do the segue with speaking of. I need to come up with something new. But let's move on and talk about a hot altcoin.
Token time. All right, friends, for token time, today we are talking about Hedera Hashgraph, or the ticker HBAR. Now, this is what they say about it on their website. The trust layer of the internet is here. Hedera is a decentralized public network for you to make your digital world exactly as it should be, yours. Whether you're a startup, an enterprise, a creator, or a consumer, Hedera goes beyond blockchain for developers to create the next era of fast, fair, and secure applications. The Hedera Proof-of-Stake network, powered by Hashgraph Consensus, achieves the highest grade of security possible with blazing fast transaction speeds and incredibly low bandwidth consumption. So by combining high throughput, low fees, and finality in seconds, Hedera leads the way for the future of public ledgers. Now, I don't know if you knew this, I didn't know this until I did a little bit of research, Ben, but there are some big name companies using HBAR. You got Boeing, IBM, Google. I mean, there's pretty big names throughout the world using this. So,
yeah, I think one thing we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of enterprise adoption from different companies. And there are some cryptocurrencies right now that are reaping the rewards from that. Obviously, we know Ethereum is very business based. Decentralized finance at its core is also business based. But you have a company like Hedera Hashgraph, who when it launched, there was a lot of hype about it, and then it didn't really seem to live up to the hype right out the gate. It was just launched last year in either September or October, and it didn't really do anything until February, and then it really started pumping hard. I think really starting based on the Google news, which we can talk a little bit more in a second. But let's check out some of the numbers on Hedera Hashgraph. Right now, it's coming in at number 43 on CoinMarketCap, and it is a coin. Which, if you guys didn't know the difference between a coin and a token, basically a coin has its own mainnet. It has its own chain. Utility token has to run on another platform like ERC20s and things like that. So it is a coin. Right now it's coming in at about 3.5 cents, almost 3.5 cents. uh, almost 3 cents, between 3 and 3.5 cents. But right now the market cap is $129 million. The volume is for the last 24 hours. To give you an idea, that's about 6 million. This is what's really interesting though about Hedera Hashgraph. The circulating supply is almost 4 billion, but their total supply is 50 billion. So they only have, what is that, like 4 out of 50. So like 1/12, almost 1/13 of their supply is out. What do you think about that?
That's interesting. Now, when you do your research into projects and kind of if it's something you want to invest in, one of the things you got to look at is that, right? Your circulating
Absolutely.
supply versus your total supply, because now you got to see, all right, where are these other 45 billion tokens at, right? Are
Yep.
they locked up for founders? Where are these going? And I have no idea. I have not looked that up. So
Yeah, you
if
do have to.
anybody,
You have to check all that stuff out. And when we're talking about doing your own research, these are the types of things you need to be doing. If you're going to really invest in, now I invest frivolously. I'm just going to tell you. I just see names and I just throw money in. Okay.
oh, that's a pretty logo. Give me $1,000 of them.
Yeah, and that's how I feel, and that's what I do. I mean, I'm in crypto every single day, so when I do project reviews, I mean, I'm looking deep into all these details. But for me, like I'm just throwing money around. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, but when we're telling you, like, okay, if you only have $1,000 to invest, like that's literally all you have to invest, and you want to invest that in 2 projects, let's say. Well, in that case, you can't be really being lackadaisical when it comes to doing your research. Like
Mm-mm.
you would want to know where every single one of these coins is, where they're all going, because you have a very limited amount of funds to throw in a project or 2. Now, what you don't want to do is have $1,000 and invest it into 30 different projects. You're not going to really make money that way. Even if something pumps huge and you've only got $50 into it, I mean, yeah, maybe you could make $1,000, maybe you can make a few $1,000, but it's not going to change your life. So when you really have a limited amount of resources to invest, you really got to make sure you're putting your money into something that is going to have a real potential to grow. And you're going to want to understand every single detail of the way these projects happen. But what we see occur is what happened here with HBAR, where in the middle of February, it gets announced that they're working with Google and the price moons, and everybody just starts throwing money into it at that point. So, what's kind of your strategy, Jay, when you're doing research?
Obviously, you're the first thing you look at is you look at the numbers on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, CoinPerPika 360, whatever site you use to do your initial research, and then you get into the website. All right, take a look at the white paper, take a look at the team, try to do some research into the team to make sure that, I mean, anybody can throw up a website with pictures that could be fake profiles, whatever. What you want to do is make sure you're looking at the team, look at LinkedIn, try to find any past information. Whereas, maybe this person's a notorious scammer and, they just got off a different scheme and now they're in here trying to do it. So, I mean, you're checking the project, you're checking the company, you're checking the team, founders, and then really you want to look at, again, what we're just talking about now is, where are all the coins, or the tokens, depending on the project, where are they keeping this stuff? Is it set up to get the founders rich, or are they set up to really make a service? Now, like what they're saying with HBAR is that this partnership should be able to generate about $2 billion in the next 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
Cash
I mean,
money.
now
Let's get it.
that's cash money. Now that's a pretty good promise. Now, when you're talking with Google and you're talking about, a partnership like this, that's a good sign. If they're partnering up with Jimmy's electronics shop, down the way, that might be a little suspect if they're saying they're going to generate $2 billion for that guy. But that's a good article. And there are plenty of good articles like that you'll find about projects. Just make sure you're looking, if you're looking for at a specific token, coin, whatever, type that name and then scam in there just to see what comes up. Right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you definitely want to do that. I mean, a lot of times when projects reach out to me and they want me to work with them or do a sponsor review or whatever, that's what I do. I get on the trail to find out if there's any information out there about, about them being a scam. And if there's not, and I've given money back. I mean, I've agreed to do a review for project and they've paid me And I've gotten deep into it and been like, I don't think I can do this, So, I have done that before. I did that probably about 2 months ago. There was a big exchange that reached out to me. I mean, they said they were big. If you go to their website, it looks big. But then I really dug deep into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is the Russian mafia, and this is a big scam, a big Ponzi scheme. And then after that, I saw other people reviewing it, and I was like, so if I ever do a review on anything, when I do the review, there's nothing out about it being a scam because I'm researching it hard. Now, of course, sometimes you work with projects, you do stuff, and then stuff comes out later, and then that's kind of a different story. Like take BitConnect, for example. Obviously, the structure of BitConnect was that of a Ponzi scheme. What happened is at some point, people started realizing like, hey, I think this is a scam and people are going to lose their money. And then at that point, people had the decision whether to, continue talking about it or not. And then we know the ones who did after everybody knew it was a scam, and they still encourage people to lose money after that. So, you guys got to make sure you're doing your own research and making sure that these projects are legit. HBAR is definitely one that is. But let's move on. If you're interested in us talking about your project, all you guys got to do is come join our Telegram group, Beards and Bitcoins. It's t.me/beards and Bitcoins. Come on in the chat, talk it up. Tell us what coins you want us to look at. If you're a fan of a project, come in there and tell us why you're a fan, and we might possibly do that on a future episode. And if you want to ask us a question, then all you got to do is go to ask.beards.live. We got a question this week for our Whatcha Thinkin section. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Whatcha Thinkin? All right. Today for Whatcha Thinkin, we got a question from Shane asking about the halvening and how it relates to price, whether it goes down or up. So here's the question from Shane.
Okay, my question is this. Mr. Christoph on one of his videos said that the institutions are going to bet against Bitcoin on the halving. Therefore, it's going to drive the price down, is what he felt like. What's your feelings on that? If so, kind of what price range are you looking at that if that happens? So just curious what you guys thought.
Okay, so Shane wants to know what do we believe is going to happen with Bitcoin? Do we think that Bitcoin's going to get a traditional pump and the price is going to go up leading to the halving? Or do we believe that institutional investors, the institutions themselves, companies like hedge funds and things like that, are going to intentionally try to push the price of Bitcoin down? What do you think is going to happen, Jay?
So my initial reaction and thoughts about the halvening and about financial investing as a whole, history repeats itself. We know that, we've learned it, we've seen it time and time again with traditional financial systems. With crypto, obviously, we're 11 years in, 10, 11 years in, so it's a little bit different. We've got a kind of a history to build, but again, history does repeat itself. I personally feel like the halvening price is going to go up big time. My price range, if it goes up, I'm going to say 20 to 25, somewhere around there. That's my thought. If it goes down, I'm going to see it probably in the 5,000 range, but I don't think it's going to go down. That's me personally. What do you think?
Well, I think after the halving, of course, it's going to go down immediately. Kind of what most people expect is the price is going to go up. Then when the halving occurs, the price is going to drop down. So some people are saying a lot of people are going to turn off their miners after the halving, which we actually saw with Bitcoin Cash. They had their halving, I think, yesterday or this week. And a lot of their miners turned off right after it. So that could be something definitely to monitor. But once we get that drop, the price of Bitcoin will slowly, rise up eventually to all-time highs. That's what people expect to happen. Now, what Shane is asking here is based off of another YouTuber, Mr. Christoph, who's a very knowledgeable, guy when it comes to investing and mining and all kinds of things. He believes that institutional investors are going to push the price down. And I would say, why? At some point, the price has to go up, right? Mm-hmm. If you're investing, unless there's a difference between pushing the price down to short the market and make money and then pushing the price down to scoop up more and accumulate. for the price to eventually go up. I would argue that if we don't get if we don't get a big increase in the price over the next, 6 weeks, a lot of people are just going to give up, I think, which may be what they want, but at some point, accumulating does you no good unless the price goes up.
That's very true. That's very true. And we've already seen a lot of people capitulate and leave. Big names. Yeah.
Left and right. And I'll tell you this, I know a lot more big names that are in the space that are talking about leaving. A lot. Right. You would be surprised.
Well, you know who's going to be here when all the dust settles? You and me, sir.
That's right. I ain't going anywhere. I ain't got nowhere to go. Actually, I do. I got plenty of places to go. I just can't leave the house. I can't leave the house. But yeah, I think, look, guys, here's what it boils down to. What it boils down to is this cycle looked like it was going to be totally normal. We had all the signs that things were going to be normal. The price was rising. We were over 10K. We dropped back down, to 8, 9K, whatever it might be. But some people could argue that would be because the current world's pandemic was already blowing up in Asia. And that's really when the price started dropping. So I think obviously what everyone is dealing with in the world right now is having some effect on the halvening. But ultimately, we were on the same track. And right now, it looks like we've regained our footing and we're heading back up. I mean, we're over 7K. Hopefully, we'll be to 8, 9K in the next few weeks. And things will just play out the same way they've pretty much always played out. I mean, in the last halvening cycle, what you guys have to remember is people were freaking out then too. Think about this. In 2016, what's that?
So people are always freaking out.
Yeah. People were freaking out in 2016 saying that this Bitcoin halvening, now everybody knows about the halvening, which is so crazy because nobody even knew what crypto was. But you can literally go find articles from CoinDesk and Cointelegraph from that time saying like, well, obviously we're probably not going to get the same pump we got in the last halvening because now everybody knows and it's priced in. It was the exact same language last time. So I think when you say history repeats itself, I think it's going to repeat itself. The altcoin market's a little bit different. It may not take as big of a hit as it took during the last halvening in the beginning of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, history, like I said, history repeats itself. So I think we're going to see very similar to what we've seen in halvenings past. But again, no one knows. Nobody knows TA on this. This is all just new. And we're just now discovering that it may or may not correlate with traditional markets, especially if you're experiencing a global pandemic.
Well, I mean, think about this. Bitcoin's up for the year.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Check out gold or the stock market. Well, which one of those are up? I don't think either one. I could be wrong. No, the stock market may have gotten a huge pump today. Who knows? That thing they just keep printing money. But okay, well, cool. Well, don't forget, guys, if you're going to ask a question, just head on over to ask.beards.live. You can get your question played live on the air. You will become a Beards and Bitcoins celebrity. And we know that's what you're all after.
Everyone's after that. You're in the family now, Shane.
You're in the fam. Thanks, Shane. You're in the fam. All right, guys, let's check out everyone's favorite segment, Manspreading. All right, guys, for Manspreading today, we are talking about muscle cars. I got to know, what muscle cars do you guys love? You got all this time. If you had a nice muscle car sitting in the garage, what would you want to restore? What would you want to finish? What do you think? Which one are you picking?
Oh, man, there are a number of them. I mean, you got things like Mustang, the Shelby GT. You've got things like a Chevelle SS. What else? Chargers, Firebirds, Trans Ams. But if I have to pick one, and I'm only going to ever pick one, I am getting a 79 Trans Am black with a gold bird. You heard it here.
Ooh. You guys heard it first. Jay is going trans. Nice, man. Nice.
You son of a.
No, I do not want to assume your gender from this point forward. Okay, so Jay is going trans on this. Very
Trans Am,
manly, but started out as a woman.
A Trans Am. God, such a dick.
I didn't even plan that. I mean, it just played itself out. I'm trying to think of what we used to call those Trans Ams. We used to call them something. I can't remember what it was. something to do with redneck. I mean, it's a great redneck car. The Trans Am.
Absolutely. And you got to have the T-tops too. 100%.
Yeah, you have to. The redneck roadster.
Sounds great. That'd probably be my license plate. I'd find a way to vanity plate.
Well, you are from Texas, and we're both from the South. I mean, we've got some redneck in us for sure. Well, you live in Texas. You're actually from up north, but you have truly adopted Southern culture, and that's one thing.
Embraced it. Yeah, I've embraced it 100%. It's my favorite thing. Y'all didn't take very long for me to put that into my brain. I prefer that over some things. Pecan pie.
Ooh, pecan. Love pecan pie.
I still can't do sweet tea. I'm an unsweet tea kind of guy. I don't do sugar though. I just don't like sugar.
I can't get down with that. I can't get down with it. Sweet tea for life over here. I can't imagine drinking unsweet tea. Can't imagine it.
So good and bitter and not sugary. All right. Anyhow. All right. So we're talking classic muscle cars.
Classic muscle cars. Not sweet tea, classic muscle cars.
Yeah. What are you going to roll up the sleeves and get cranking on the engine on?
Well, I'm going to one-up you on the redneck level, okay? I'm going to one-up you here on the redneck level. I'm going with the 69 Dodge Charger, which, if you didn't know, I drive a Dodge Challenger RT. And this car, actually, even though it was a Charger technically, it really, is what the Challenger was based off of. And this is...
Ring. Oh, that's the Duke.
That's the Duke, Colin. That's right. I'm going with the Dukes of Hazzard car. I'm going with the 69 Dodge Charger from the show, Dukes of Hazzard. Like, it doesn't have to be that exact same one, but the orange ones were absolutely beautiful back then. I mean, I just think if we were living back in the 70s, you pop that car open, like that thing was slick.
Man, it'd be so nice to drive just a antique muscle, rip it up on the track, rip it up on the highway car. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Now I'm not going Confederate flag on the top, if anyone's asking. I'm not taking the model that's got the Confederate flag on top. Okay, that's too taboo. But I do love that car. I think it's really sweet. That's why I drive, I drive a Dodge Challenger. And it's funny because so I had a decision to buy a Camaro or a Dodge Challenger. This was about 8 years ago, somewhere around there. I had a business that was going good. I went, I was like, man, I want to get a nice sports car, So I went and I was like, honey, what do you think I should get? Do you think I should get the Camaro or do you think I should get the Challenger? In my heart of hearts, I wanted the Challenger. But the wife said, this is so funny. She said, I don't really like that Challenger because it looks like an old car. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the point, hon. And she didn't really seem to understand that. So the long and the short of it is I ended up going with the Camaro. So I had a Camaro for a few years. And I love the Camaro. It's a nice car. But I just got a 6-cylinder. I got the 6-cylinder Camaro. It was a stick shift.
Nerd alert.
It was a nerd alert. And it looked nice. It was really cool. It was pretty fast. But after about, a couple months, I really started thinking like, man, I wish I would have got that 8-cylinder, that big V8, big boy. So,
big boy.
So when I went to go get my latest new car, maybe about 4 years ago, I said, you know what? Let me go cop that Challenger. So I got the RT. It's got 400 horsepower in that puppy, fast as crap. And I love driving it. It's been a fantastic car.
That's fast as crap with a squatty potty, baby. You know what I mean?
Amen, brother. Amen. So I actually just yesterday, I got to say this quiet so the wife doesn't hear. I just yesterday started floating the idea of getting a new car.
Ooh, what you looking at?
Maybe that Lamborghini Gallardo. I'm just kidding. I'm not really looking at a Lambo, guys. But maybe a Hellcat. What if I went with a Hellcat? What would you think about that?
Dude, those things are slick.
Yeah, they're nice. And they also got the new Dodge Barracudas out.
Ooh, yeah. We talked about that yesterday, and I did some looking into that. That thing looks prime. All right, but what we want to know. So now you've heard the cars that we would be fixing up and souping up. We want to know, what about you? Say it's spring cleaning time. You get your garage cleaned out, Bitcoin moons, you're sitting on a pretty stack of cash, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to get myself a muscle car, fix it up. What are you going to do? What are the 4 options you want to go with? Obviously, the 2 that we did, so the Trans Am and the Charger.
Yeah, you got to throw the Mustang Shelby GT on there, don't you?
What is that from? What was the movie with Nicolas Cage? Eleanor.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
That's right. Eleanor. So you got to throw Eleanor in there. And then the Super Sport, man, the Chevelle Super Sport. I mean, I think that's pretty classic.
Yeah, I think those are 4 good picks. So we want to know which one would you guys soup up. We'll put the poll out this week. So
and
that's going to wrap up the show.
If you got one that you don't want to pick out of our list, just add it in the comments.
Drop a comment, nerd.
So you got to do.
Come on, nerds. Drop a comment. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be
and
shy.
Don't be afraid to vote. Like, it's okay. Like, it's just okay if you vote. Like, don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. But guys, that's going to wrap up the show today. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to the Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast. Each week, we're bringing you guys news, information, and stories to spread awareness about cryptocurrency.
That is right. And if you enjoyed this episode or any other episode, please make sure you leave us a rating and review, whether it's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever. Wherever you get your podcast, we'd appreciate it. And you can also help us spread the word of the show by sharing your favorite episodes of the Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast on your social media. Tag us. We'll retweet you. We'll interact with you. We love you.
That's right. And don't forget to visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com. Maybe by the time you guys are listening to this, we may have the new website up. We've got a new version coming. You guys are going to want to check out that. It is pretty sleek. Make sure you guys also join our Telegram group, t.me/beardsandbitcoins. That's all we got today. Oh, one more thing.
When you go to check out the new website, there is merch. We got merch now. There is Team J Chains and Team BitBoy. We got merch. We got show merch, and then we got individual merch. Check it out.
That's right. You guys make sure that you check out my collection, the Team BitBoy collection, okay? Because we are going Team BitBoy here, not Team J Chains. I bought a Team BitBoy shirt, and my wife was like, "Why didn't you buy a Team J Chain shirt?" I was like, "Come on, honey."
That's right.
Why you do this? But anyways, guys, we can't wait to see you guys in pictures. Share that stuff on social media when you guys cop the merch and things like that. And we will see you guys next week. Boom.
See you.